Eyes on Longmont, offering a diversity of topics about our community that will inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy this edition of Eyes on Longmont.
Hi, my name is Bill Butler. I'm going to tell you about two very early towns in the St. Vrain Valley, Pella and Hygiene. You know Hygiene by another name, North Pella. Pella was founded in 1859, 150 years ago. Here's a map showing you where it is. Pella is right in the middle of the map. Hygiene is up to the north, and we'll talk about that in a second. Aerial view of the Pella and Hygiene, give you an idea of what the countryside looks like with the St. Vrain River running through it. Pella was actually founded on a bluff overlooking the St. Vrain. The bluff idea was about 20 feet above the bottomlands. The idea is to keep the town out of the flowing river, keep it safe. To the north of the bluffs was the bottomlands. The bottomlands are rich in all kinds of good soil, cattle grazing, whatever you want to do. The uplands to the north of Pella was also good for row crops. This is an idea of where it was located. This is 75th Avenue going north-south, and the St. Vrain Road going off to the left towards Crane Hollow Road. Those buildings were not part of Pella. They're modern buildings. You can see the creek running through the picture. This is the upper or Laramie crossing of the St. Vrain. The lower crossing is 287 in Longmont, otherwise known as the Overland Trail. Okay, these are the only two places you can cross the river. A bridge was not built here until 1886. In fact, there was a ferry that would take you across until the bridge was built. This is an early sketch map showing where some of these things were, like up in the left-hand corner is the town of Nolan. Nolan was a quarry town. The famous Lion sandstone came from Nolan. Once the mines closed, Nolan was just destroyed. If you drive up there now, you'll see some houses. There's nothing left except some of the drifts in there. Pella is in the bottom of this picture. The Hygiene up to the right. This is where the St. Vrain cross the river. It's one of the few places there you can get down to the river. I didn't do it. It's thick brush, but you get an idea of what it's looked like, what the St. Vrain looks like. It is in the bushes right in the left-hand side, left picture, and on the right. Some of the houses and features in the St. Vrain Valley around Hygiene, especially, and Pella. Some of them are still there. You have to look around for them. But most of them are gone. This is the 1890s. There was a store. The Pella store was at the location here of where you see that telephone pole at the intersection of 75th and the road that goes to Crane Hollow. It's gone. There's nothing there now. A sketch map made by Billy Boyles showing the relationship with some of these things. It's a very good map. Hygiene is to the right, that's to the north. You see the railroad tracks, and there's Pella and 75th and all the Crane Hollow Road and some of the more important things I'll talk about, like the Pella Mill, the Pella Fort and stuff. There's a key in Benedict showing what was there. There were lots of things going on in Pella. There are very few pictures of homesteads or anything. Here's one. This is the Miller House. Most of this information comes from the the Longmont History Center, at the Research Center. There are very few pictures, I'm afraid. The Pella Fort, it really wasn't a fort. If you look carefully, you can see it's just a building. It's a shed. You can see with open end at one side. It was never used as a fort. It was used as a community center after a while. I got a feeling once the hay dried out, they just used it for whatever they could, but it was never a fort. Mill, they built a grist mill. This is an artist's conception of what the mill looked like in the 1890s. It's probably pretty accurate. It's an overshot mill, and as the water runs down, a flume goes over the top of the wheel and down in the creek. These are some burrs from the mill. They are at the Longmont Library. These are the grinding stones. You put the raw grains in the mill and you turn this and you grind it into powder. It also was a school. This is the Pella School in about 1886. It was burned down in 1965 in a fire. But this time it had become a home, no longer a school. Vandals burned it down. Nobody knows who they were. Some of the buildings in Pella in 1860 to 1885. You notice it says that 43 families within 2 miles of the post office. Families are not numbered. That's 43 people, but actually each family has 5 or 6 people. So triple that, and you get an idea of what's there. There's a couple hundred people in the Pella area in the 1860s. General office, post office, blacksmith shop, school, and so on and so forth, and even a tavern. And that is in just a few places you see it. There's a roadhouse. That's a tavern. There even was a racetrack there. I could never find it on any map, and I've been out in the field looking, and I can't find it. Pella Crossing is all that's left. It's a sign for a recreation area just north on 75th, just north of the river. You've probably been by there and seen this. It is far north of the actual town of Pella, and in fact it's about a half mile north of the crossing itself. But at least the city and county recognized it was there. Incidentally, the Pella Crossing, people were from Pella, Iowa. It's a town that still exists. There's about 60,000 people in Pella today. In the late 1800s, the railroad came through the Denver, Longmont, and Northwestern. If you don't have a railroad, your town died. So the people of Pella looked and thought, uh-oh, we're in trouble, we got to move. And indeed they did. North Pella is Hygiene. They moved up there and what became Hygiene, Colorado. Hygiene is named for the sanitarium that's there. There's, again, a map showing you where Hygiene is, right in the middle of the thing. Hygiene is still there. Pella's gone, Hygiene is there. Looking north towards Hygiene, the railroad tracks go through the picture to the left to the right. At those telephone poles, the station was probably on the right-hand side there. A beet dump off to the left. This was good country to grow beets. Sugar beets were still big money there. Looking south, or looking north, looking south from Hygiene, this is towards the St. Vrain and towards Pella. You can see the trees in the distance. That's St. Vrain Creek. Tuberculosis hits Colorado, hits everybody. It is a very dangerous disease. It kills thousands and thousands of people worldwide. One of the cures for tuberculosis is sunlight and fresh air. Colorado has sunlight and fresh air. As you might guess, a lot of sanitariums were built in Colorado. Here's one of the bigger sanitariums. This is in Chicago. Again, for taking care of people. Here are some typical TB wards. Sunlight, fresh air. You notice carefully that some of these things are on the edge of an open veranda-like roof thing. Fresh air again, and sunlight. Thing that gets me is they're all packed in there because nobody knew that tuberculosis was an airborne disease. Had they known that, they might have been a little bit careful in how they housed the people. But these are pretty typical wards. There are sanitariums all over northern Colorado, in fact, all over Colorado. There are hundreds. There's a book that has a list of all the sanitariums in about 1900. These are the ones I pulled out from here. The Hygiene Home, which is what we're going to talk about here. Boulder County, some of the bigger ones were the National Jewish Hospital down in Denver started as a sanitarium. There are faith-based sanitariums. There are just regular sanitariums. And one of the things that people did to make money is they rented out cabins and tents and stuff for people wanting to come here and get the sun and getting the fresh air. Hygiene House. This is the subject of hygiene. This is where hygiene got its name. The thing was built by Reverend Flory He's an Episcopal minister, built the building for hygiene for tuberculosis people. It is a massive, or was a massive structure, 40 feet long, 40 feet wide, 2 stories, and on the roof was a sanitarium, an open air sanitarium of blue glass. Blue light was thought to be one of the cures for tuberculosis. Another picture up in 1926. It was destroyed soon after this picture was taken. There's people on the porch. Local citizens. Evidently, it was the place in town. There wasn't much else to bring the people together except this sanitarium. The building itself was, say, 40 by 40, 2-story, mahogany inside, marble fireplaces. There are 2 cabins out back of the building, but there's no description of what they are. This is a very impressive building. Some of his wife is in the center, and the Reverend. Note the white shirts. I suspect that this is staff, but who knows? The problem with a lot of this stuff, a lot of early stuff, is you may have a picture that says this is what it is, but it doesn't tell you what about the picture and what's going on. That's one thing here, is you don't know what these people are. The school, Ross School, it was lasted until the 1960s. Pretty impressive building, made out of brick, good fire brick. It was north of Hygiene. There was a cheese factory in the area. Now, if you have cheese, you have cattle. You have dairy cattle. That means there's a lot of dairy cattle around there. Again, I pointed out that the bottomlands would have been ideal for growing dairy cattle. This was a major industry in the area. Whatever happened to it, who knows? The buildings are not there. Against the sanitarium for 1926. There are lots of pictures of the front of this building. None of the sides, none of the back. But you can see it's a very important building. Look at the nice veranda running all the way around it. It's located up in the top there where the school is now. It was torn down in 1926. No reason is given. I suspect it was just old age. I mean, it had been there for almost 70 years. And down at the bottom is the railroad tracks and where I think the railroad station was located. The beet dump is probably to the north there, just along the tracks. This is an area where there is now a feed store there. I suspect it's not an accident that it was there. This is the Hygiene Elementary School today. Pretty nice looking school. Again, this is where I think the sanitarium was located, in that concrete area where the students' playground is. It's logical it's probably right in that area. You could probably, if you had an archaeologist with a backhoe, you could probably find some of the remains of it. Now, one of the interesting things in the area is the Dunkard Church. Just east of Hygiene is this building. It was built by the church in 1880. Notice to the right of it, there's a cemetery. Behind me, across the road, is the rest of the cemetery. The building is not used as a church anymore. It is a community center for everybody. It is a very handsome building. Hygiene today, downtown Hygiene, 75th Avenue, looking south towards what is Pella, and view north towards 75th Avenue. Some more Hygiene pictures. Exciting little town. It is a small town, but it is a nice little town. And I guess what keeps it a nice town is it's small. There's nobody there. On the lower right corner, that road there is the one that goes to Longmont. And of course, this is the general store there. There used to be a nice restaurant there, but it closed when COVID hit. There couldn't get any people in there. The Hygiene is gone. Pella is gone, but it's not forgotten. The Pella Corner Animal Clinic and Hygiene is that building right there. It says so on the building. It is the last remnant we have of somebody knowing something about Pella in that building. Those are the 2 towns in the Upper St. Vrain. They're important. They're early 1859. Longmont was founded in 1871. So they're there before Longmont. And don't forget, gold wasn't found in the state until 1858. So Hygiene, Pella was really early. And then Hygiene.